You want me to start now? I didn't ask that.
Yes, go ahead.
So, good evening and welcome to the information session on paying for college. My name is Tamika and I do work for College Foundation of North Carolina, or CFNC. Of course, this is going to be all about paying for college, regardless of what grade you're in right now. This is just going to be general information about resources to help you pay for it. So definitely, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll definitely address those later. One of the things that I do like to kind of start out with when you're talking about paying for college is kind of what the steps are. So you want to kind of know before you go, kind of what's the step one. And step one for me that I like for all families to do is to know what the costs are. So you know that you have to pay for tuition and fees. So whether or not it's a 2-year school or a 4-year school, you'll have to pay for your tuition and for your fees. But you're also, if the student's going to be living on a 4-year campus, then you'll also be looking at costs for room and meals. And so when you're looking at paying for college, you want to start looking and thinking about, exactly how much it costs to go to that school for a year. And if that student is going to live on campus, how much are the tuition fees? Most colleges now have that information on their website, so you can just go there and find that information. I usually tell students and families that the easiest way to do it sometimes is you can also visit CFNC because we do have that information listed on our site. But you can visit a college website and put in the cost of attendance in the search bar, and it will come up with their direct cost for how much it costs to go there for the year. So I encourage you to do that. The other costs that are listed here are not costs that you are going to get a bill for. So those direct costs that you see at the beginning, you're going to get a bill for those items. And you're going to be billed twice a year when a student's in college. So whatever it tells you that it costs to go there for the year, it'll be split in half. And so each semester you pay by semester. But the other costs that are at the bottom are not going to be things that are going to be on your bill, but you are expected to be able to cover these expenses. These are going to be things like books and supplies. So right now, students are spending anywhere between about $500 to $800 per semester for their books. It really depends on the student's major, what classes they have to have for their major, what books they need for those classes. So that's kind of what the average costs are for those. But books are kind of purchased separately. So students register for their classes, you pay the bill, and then the student then goes to the bookstore and purchases whatever books that they need. And then the other expenses associated with going to college, whether or not it's 2-year or 4-year, is transportation. So if it's a local community college, just kind of knowing, what the options will be for transportation. Usually community college parking is usually free or at a very reduced rate. At the 4-year colleges, though, if a student takes their car on a 4-year college campus, they have to purchase a parking permit. And parking permits can range anywhere between $400 to $500 a year, depending on the school. So if you are thinking about a 4-year school, you have to think about purchasing a parking permit. You can have a parking permit added onto your bill, so you don't have to pay for that separately, but it's not necessarily billed to you if you don't request that it's billed to you. But you do want to think about transportation. You also want to think about personal and miscellaneous expenses. These are all the things that are associated with going to college for a year. So when you're looking at, how much is it going to cost, what are the expenses that I need, the things to live on a college campus, those are going to be the personal and miscellaneous expenses. Not everybody will be affected by loan fees, so I won't go into that in detail, but I will let you know, of course, if you do have to take out a student loan to help pay for college, which a lot of college students have, you do want to kind of make sure that you understand if there are any fees for taking out that loan. It's not something that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket. But typically what happens is if a student takes out a loan, or if a parent takes out a loan for the college to help pay for school, they may take out a percentage of those of that loan to cover sort of kind of processing fees. And why that's important to know is because let's say that you have a bill that you owe $1,000 for college, and you just take out a loan for $1,000. If they take out 2% of that, or if they take out 3% of that, you may still have a balance left over because you didn't factor in the fees that are associated with taking out a loan. So just be sure you pay attention to that if you take out a loan. And then, of course, all possible health fees. At the 4-year colleges, if a student lives on college campus, they are required to be covered under some type of health insurance. insurance. So we always tell students if they're going to a four-year college to be sure that you are covered by some type of health insurance, because that will be something that will be asked of you and required. If you're not covered under any type of health insurance, the college will have health insurance there that you will be able to purchase so that the student can live on campus. But all of these things are kind of the first step when you're thinking about paying for college, because you want to be sure that you understand, for one, how much does it cost, and what does that particular figure include? Like, what are all the things that I'm looking at paying for? So that's step one. And then we always want to kind of give you some ideas on how people are paying for college today. I always like to tell families, don't get too stressed out about trying to find one source to pay for college. A lot of people, and really the smartest people, are thinking about different ways to make college work. So they're not looking at one source. It would be great if you get a full scholarship. They are very competitive, and sometimes it's not as easy to get a full scholarship sometimes as people may think that it is. And so let's say you don't get a full scholarship, but you get a partial scholarship, or you get a little small portion of a scholarship, then you'll want to think about what are some other ways that we can pay for college. And so most families use a combination of things. A lot of families save in advance, which I encourage you. If you haven't, it's not too late if your student's in high school to save for college. North Carolina has a college savings plan called the NC 529 plan, and that is something where you can kind of put money aside for expenses to pay for college. And this will be a good time. I know that it's a tough time for a lot of families financially, but for some families, if you're getting stimulus checks, you're getting something like that, maybe it's a time where you have some extra money where you can actually put into a college savings account to save for college. A lot of families do save for college in advance, so they have something to kind of cover. If, let's say, if a balance is $1,000 or a little bit more than that, they use their college savings money to be able to pay for that. And then some families use their current income. All colleges will have a college payment plan. So if there is a balance and you are still looking for additional ways to pay for that balance for a college, they will give you the option to put it on a payment plan. Usually it has to be paid off by the end of that school year, but you are given the option of a payment plan. And then, of course, students apply for financial aid, and that's just a way for them to be able to get an offer from a college. So when you're applying to college, you go through the admissions process, and that's just one part of it. But in order to be able to be offered money from that college, students have to apply for financial aid. The earliest that you're able to apply for financial aid for college is the student's senior year, of course, of college. But that's one of the things that students do, is they apply for that. And I'll show you that in just a second. And then also some families, of course, are borrowing against future earnings when it comes to paying for college. So that's just a nice way of saying students may be taking out loans, parents may be taking out loans. But a lot of families combine a couple of these things. So they're not just looking at just getting a scholarship or just hoping that a college is going to offer them everything to pay. A lot of families are looking at, okay, if this doesn't happen, what are some different resources that we can use to make this work? And so I wanted to start out with this to let you know that there are different things that you can combine to help pay for college expenses. I always tell families as well, as when you're thinking about college, is kind of what are some ways to help save money for college? A lot of families ask us that, and we always say, have you considered the two-year option? Because the community colleges are so affordable. North Carolina has such great community colleges in our state. And so we always tell families to think about, have you thought about that as an option to help save money for college? So that means that a student will go to college for a year or 2 years and then transfer on to the four-year college. For some students, they don't even need to go to a four-year college. I want to stress this, that college is not just a four-year experience. There are some students, depending on what they want to go to college for, they can get it done in 2 years or 1 year or less than a year. And there's some wonderful programs at the community college where they're able to do that. It's also just a great way to save money. 1 year for a full-time student at a community college is anywhere between about $3,000 to $6,000 a year for a full-time student, right? And that's covering everything. A full-time student at a four-year institution can cost anywhere between $18,000 to up to $50,000 or $60,000 a year. So you just save a tremendous amount of money. And so when we were telling families that are thinking about college, especially a little bit early, is have you considered that as an option? Even for students this year, it has been a tough year again for a lot of families the last year to 2 years. And so families are looking at, like, how can we do this? Like, we want you to be able to go to college. You want to be able to go to college. Well, what are some things that we can do to make this affordable. So I always tell them is, have you thought about doing the transfer option? There's some wonderful programs where students are able to kind of transfer from one community college and get guaranteed admission at certain colleges in our state. So if you've not explored that option or not even ever thought about it before, definitely visit your local community college. They do tours just like the four-year schools do, where you can learn about their transfer options and what that would look like. But it really does save a lot of money when it comes to going to college. And for some students, again, that may be just what you need is just that 2-year degree. Here in North Carolina, we do have a program called We Promise, and I always like to mention this because not a lot of people are aware of it, but it's just something that North Carolina came up with a couple of years ago to try to make college more affordable, and it's really with our UNC system schools. So any of our colleges that start with UNC, that's also colleges like East Carolina, NC State, North Carolina Central, Western Carolina. Those type of colleges are part of our We Promise program, and there's two parts to it. So one of the parts of the program to try to make college more affordable is if you apply to certain colleges, your tuition will be set at $500 per semester. And that's such a great deal, right? $500 per semester for a four-year college. You still have to pay for room and meals if the student is going to be living on campus. But there are 3 colleges that have guaranteed that your tuition will be set at $500 per semester. It is set that way for 4 years, so they give you 4 years to graduate. And as long as that student graduates within 4 years, you do not have to worry about the tuition changing. But if that student was to have to stay there for a 5th year or another year, then of course the tuition may go up to something past the $500 per semester. But initially, it's $500 per semester. You cannot beat that. The 3 colleges right now that are a part of that promise are Western Carolina, UNC Pembroke, and Elizabeth City State. So again, that's Western Carolina, UNC Pembroke, Elizabeth City State. If you haven't thought about them or considered them as an option, very affordable. Right now, they are currently our lowest tuition colleges in our state. So definitely visit their websites to learn more about the program. You don't have to do anything special. You're just admitted to the schools and you're a part of the promise. Now, the other UNC system schools may not have that $500 tuition, but they do guarantee that if a student gets admitted to their colleges, you will be locked in your tuition for 4 years. So that means that your tuition will not change. Why that's so significant and important is typically at most four-year colleges, your tuition can go up anywhere between 5 to 6%. So that means that a student will come in as a freshman and it will cost this amount. You get your bill and you know what you're going to pay. But by the time they're a senior or by the time they're about to graduate, the bill will be something completely different than it was freshman year. And tuition typically does go up. So what all of our other UNC system schools have guaranteed is that if your student gets admitted to that school, their tuition will be locked in for 4 years. So how cool is that? And if you want to learn more about it, you can visit the website that's listed here. It's affordableeducation.org to learn more about the We Promise program. It's really something great, again, especially if you're looking at colleges and universities in our state. And then most students, of course, remember I said one of the ways that students are looking at trying to, be able to pay for college is that they apply for financial aid. And these are currently the 2 main financial applications that colleges are going to ask you for. The FAFSA application is the main application. And what FAFSA stands for is the free application for federal student aid. But we call it FAFSA for short. So you'll hear colleges ask you, did you complete the FAFSA? You'll hear your counselors or different people saying, have you done your FAFSA? And that's the financial application for colleges. Again, all the colleges in the U.S. ask for it. They highly recommend that people do it from 2-year schools to 4-year colleges. They're going to want you to complete it. There is one universal website that everybody goes to, so there's not one by college. Everybody goes to this universal website that's listed here, FAFSA.gov. On the application, once you start filling it out, they will ask you what colleges do you want to have it sent to, and they'll send it to up to 10 different colleges. So that's how the colleges get it. So you fill out these financial forms. The earliest that you're able to do these, again, remember, is your senior year. So October 1st of the senior year is when these applications open. You cannot do them prior to then. It is October 1st of the senior year. But you're filling these forms out because you want to be able to get a financial offer from the colleges. You want them to say, yes, thank you for admitting us to this college, but what are you going to offer us to come here? And that is what the FAFSA application is for. They do have an app for it now, so you don't necessarily have to be on your computer. You can also do it on an app, and the app is called My Student Aid. So you just go to your app store. It is free to download, and that's the application that students fill out to get some financial offers from colleges. Now, most colleges just want that one form, but there are some colleges that ask for two. And so this is just a second application that some colleges will ask you for. Not everybody, again, will have to do two financial forms. It's just a few colleges that ask for it. We only have 5 in our state that ask for it. And I'll at least name those 5 colleges so you'll know. But in our state, they are Duke, Wake Forest, Elon, Davidson, and UNC Chapel Hill. Again, that's Duke, Wake Forest, Elon, Davidson, and UNC Chapel Hill. Those 5 schools do want students to do 2 financial forms, and that second financial form is called a College Scholarship Service Profile. We call it a CSS profile for short, because who wants to say that name, that long name every time? So it's called a CSS profile. The website to fill this out is on the College Board website. It's collegeboard.org. You should be familiar with College Board because they're also the people that do the SAT. But they also do this kind of second financial form for colleges. So again, the earliest you can fill that form out is October of the student's senior year. But these are the 2 main applications that the ways that you get a financial offer from a college. So I wanted you to be able to see that. This is just to show you kind of a visual of what it looks like when you go to the FAFSA.gov website. Again, I like to show people a visual, so in case you wanted to go to it earlier, you just wanted to be able to see what it looks like, kind of what kind of questions they may ask. You can go here. It's FAFSA.gov. And again, for any senior families out here, you definitely still have time to do it. It opened up October 1st of the senior year, but it is definitely still available for you to be able to fill it out. So if there are any seniors that have not done it, please go to that website so that you can get a financial offer of some kind from the college just to see what they would offer you to be able to come there. It's free. There's no harm in doing it just to see what they would offer you to be able to come. But this is the website that you would go to fill it out. And you see here, you just click on the start here and you'll start answering the questions. This form does have to be filled out every year that a student is in college, so it's not a one and done thing. Students fill it out again starting October of their senior year, but it has to be renewed every year that they're in college. So that student's freshman year, October of their freshman year of college, they'll need to fill it out the renewal form so that they can get an offer for their sophomore year of college. So it is something that has to be renewed every year, and each year they give you a financial offer to come to their school. Again, you'll come to the same website, and instead of coming here as a new user, you'll come in as a returning user. So everybody uses the same website. Again, there's not one by state, not one by college. Everybody in the U.S. comes to this website. Also wanted you to be able to see what the app looks like because, again, remember I said that was a downloadable app. So if you go to your app store, you'll see My Student Aid, and it should look like this. You just download the app, and again, you can fill out the form completely through the app on your phone. How cool is that now? So one of the things that we do get asked a lot by parents is that parents want to know kind of what is your involvement in this paying for college process. Like, at some point you're going to get a bill, but it's also going to be very important for parents to help with the financial form. So students can fill out the college admissions applications completely by themselves. They do not need anybody else to do those. But when it comes to the financial forms for college, they do have to have parent information. There are some certain situations where students can fill out these financial forms without parents. But in most cases, if a student is under the age of 24 years old, they have to have parent information on these financial forms. And so we get asked a lot of times by parents who are preparing for this process, kind of what information you're going to ask me. Most of it's going to be very general, but the main information I'm going to ask you for is for your tax information. They now use prior tax information on there, so the prior year tax information. So just to show you an example here, if I'm a student that's a senior this year, I'm planning to start college in August. I was able to do my financial aid form for college back in October because I'm a senior again, and it opens up October of my senior year. The tax information that I will be entering in on this form, which they'll ask you for it on the form, would be my 2019 taxes, because remember, it's the year prior to the form opening up. So the form opened up in 2020. That means I'm providing my 2019 tax information. So it's always going to be the prior year tax information that's going to be used on these forms. But parents are needed, and this is what's needed from you. And then, of course, do understand and know that there will be situations that may arise that you may have filed your taxes the prior year and something has significantly changed. Imagine all the families, of course, who had students who started college last year and the year completely changed for them. But colleges do have financial change forms available. So even after you submit these forms to the colleges, do know that the financial aid offices will always have sort of special circumstances forms that you'll be able to fill out to kind of explain how your situation has changed. They absolutely have added that on for COVID. So if there are any senior families out there that are concerned about, on the FAFSA, we had to report 2019 information, but things have changed for us a lot. You want to contact the individual financial aid offices and they will let you know how to get access to their special circumstances form to be able to explain how your income has changed. So do kind of know that these are also the other situations that they will go back and reconsider information that was submitted on a financial form if you've already submitted a form to a college. And then another thing people always ask is kind of what are they applying for? Why do we kind of encourage so many people to fill out the FAFSA? This is what you're applying for. So you are applying for federal funds. So again, this is a form that's filled out by every student in the U.S. is going to college. You're applying for federal funds. So you're applying for federal grant money. You're applying for some federal scholarship money and also some student loan money because that's a part of the process. You're also applying for your state's money. So one of the questions they ask you on these financial forms is what state do you live in? And they ask you that not just because they're curious, but also because every state has money that you could be potentially considered for to help pay for college. And so these are currently the funds that the state of North Carolina will be considering you for to help pay for college. And then you're also applying for your institution's money. So when you're filling out the FAFSA application, these are all the things you're applying for, which is why we tell people to do them because you're applying for so many different things to be able to help you pay for college. So why not do it to kind of make sure that you're being considered for everything that you can? Of course, grants and scholarships do not have to be paid back, but the loan portion, of course, if you were offered a loan for a college, it does have to be paid back, but you're offered several different options to help make this work. Speaking of the loan programs, just wanted to let you know they do have limits on how much students can borrow per year. So even if a student goes through this process and they're offered a student loan to help pay for college, there are limits. Currently, it's primarily just four-year colleges that are doing student loans. Most community colleges do not participate in the loan program, so you probably won't see any loans offered to you from a two-year college. Four-year colleges, you may. And they have limits, though. So freshmen can borrow up to $5,500. Sophomores can borrow up to $6,500, and juniors and seniors can borrow up to $7,500. These are loans that are solely in students' names, and again, they are offered it to them through this financial aid process. By them filling out the FAFSA, they are given the option to be able to borrow loans to help pay for college, but they do have limits. They also have loans for parents. I don't have a pretty chart like this for parents because there's no limit to how much parents can borrow, but just wanted you to know that you will be given the option of both a student loan and a parent loan to help pay for college expenses. And then, of course, I want to make sure that we end with making sure that you understand that scholarships are also going to be a big part of this process. Again, you're going to apply for financial aid because you're hoping the college is going to offer you something. The colleges are hoping that you're filling out separate scholarship applications to see what you can be offered. So I want you to at least see these are kind of the top places we like to tell students to go to look for scholarships. Local scholarships are going to come through your high school. That means it's just going to be for people either just at your high school or just in your county. If you are applying to any college or university in North Carolina, CFNC.org would be great to go to because we house all of the state scholarships, meaning that one of the requirements say that if you apply for the scholarship, you have to use it at a college or university in our state, and that's either a 2-year or a 4-year school. All the colleges offer scholarships, so institutional scholarships are an option. Four-year colleges offer scholarships. Community colleges offer scholarships. When you go to those colleges' websites and look at their admissions criteria, sometimes they'll have scholarship information there. But if not, you'll just kind of go to their financial aid page And that's where all of their scholarship information is going to be. So definitely be sure that you're visiting the college's websites and checking out their scholarship opportunities. And then also just doing national searches on your own. And this is kind of just doing simple searches. So if I'm a student, I could go to just do a simple Google search. Everybody, because it's always funny when people say, where do I find scholarships? Where do we find everything else that we're looking for in this world? We start with Google and we ask it to find it. Same thing with scholarships. You can type in scholarships. It'll probably bring up a million hits when you go through Google, but you can also make it very specific. So I could do it by major. If I know I'm thinking about engineering, I'm just going to put in engineering scholarships if they exist. Google is going to find it and it's going to list any kind of engineering scholarship opportunities. So definitely use Google. The only thing I encourage you not to do is never pay for scholarship information. All scholarship applications should be free. So if you ever get to a website and it takes you to a website and they're asking for money, it is some type of scam. Never pay for a scholarship application. And of course, always look for that lock in the URL to make sure that it is a secure website. But other than that, you are free to search on Google for national scholarships. We have a list of a few sites that you can kind of start your search. Your counselors will have some national sites just to kind of get you started. But again, there are several different opportunities, but these are the top 4 places that we like to tell students to go to look for scholarship information. When it comes to other kind of North Carolina-based scholarships, we do have some great programs under our scholarship section. So just wanted to let you know that we do have some statewide programs that are pretty big that offer a good amount of money to be able to help students start thinking about majors in health sciences and education. So definitely go to CFNC.org under our scholarship portion to see that. If you have been in foster care up to age 13, definitely visit ncreach.org. They have resources to be able to help students pay for their tuition at different colleges. And of course, military families here in North Carolina, there is actually a military website if you have a parent that has served in the military. You definitely want to visit there just to make sure you're not missing out on any type of resources to kind of help pay for college. And then one of the things I wanted to mention to you too is talk to you about the scholarship search in CFNC. If you go to CFNC.org, you're going to click on Pay for College, and then you'll see our scholarship search. And this is kind of what it looks like. You have the opportunity to kind of refine your search by county. So you can do it by county. We have lots of different scholarships that you can do searches for that are based right here in our state. And then, of course, you're doing all of this because you're trying to get some wonderful offers. So just wanted to kind of show you that the reason why we encourage students to fill out whatever financial forms that a college has to help you pay for college, that you do them, because it gives you an opportunity to be able to compare and see what other colleges may offer you, what are some other resources. And this is just showing you a student that has applied to multiple colleges, and they are able to kind of see what their different offers are from those particular schools. So you can see here, this student was, whenever you see the word scholarships and grant, that means that that's free money. This student was given some different offers to help pay for college. So I wanted you to be able to see that that's one of the other reasons why we encourage people to do this, is because of the fact that you're able to compare financial offers from different colleges. So that's another reason why you do it. And then what are some, just to kind of let you know, remember again, I said it, don't try to use one source. There will be other opportunities. You will have payment plan options to help pay for school, besides applying for scholarships, besides trying to save, besides applying for financial aid. You will have payment plans. There will be private education loan options, kind of like outside banks and organizations that will do loans for students to help pay for college, also loan for parents. And here in our state, we have an NC Assist loan for families to help pay for college. So if you're interested in that and want to know more, you can go to ncassist.org. It is a loan program that we have available for parents and students to be able to apply for money to help pay for college. But also just remember, again, to apply early. They open up October 1st. Those financial forms, apply early. Do searches for scholarships early. I encourage students to start searching for scholarships even as early as 9th grade. You may not be able to apply for them until your senior year, but you're starting to create lists of scholarships you found, and you're able to see what the criteria is. So do definitely apply for things early. Do not wait until the last minute. On CFNC, we do have lots of other resources to kind of help you pay for college. So while you're under that pay for college section, definitely check out the college financing resources. A lot of what I said tonight, and also some other resources are there just to kind of help you along the way to get different ways to help pay for school. And know that all the colleges will have resources on their financial aid pages. So definitely while you're on visiting the colleges for just general information, definitely check out their financial aid pages. They will have calculators and things on there that may be able to help you as you're trying to figure out if this is the right college for you. So if you have not, these are just some useful websites that you can go to get information about college after tonight. Of course, CFNC is on there, but these are also some other helpful websites that you can go to get some planning resources for college if you're still early in this stage. And definitely, if you have questions, visit our website, cfnc.org, or you can call our call center, and the number is listed here. But I do thank you guys so much for joining. If you have any questions, I don't know if there are any questions in the chat, but we definitely can we can check that. But if you have questions, definitely call our call center, call the financial aid offices at those colleges, or just visit CFNC. We have lots of free resources there. But thank you so much for joining.